My fiancé texted, "You'll get over it." I did, right after canceling the wedding and the card. I called the venue, froze accounts, notified the bank, then breathed. Turns out closure arrives fast when fraud does. She kept the dress. I kept my peace and my balance. Alex and I had 6 weeks until the wedding. I'm Ethan, 30M, quiet DevOps guy in Denver whose job is mostly patch windows, rollback plans, and keeping alerts from waking people at 2 a.m. She's Alex, 28F, social media sparkle, golden retriever energy in a human body. She promised her bachelorette would be low-key. Her aunt's lake house, a spa day, a wine tour. I believed her because hearing her plan felt like reading a status page. Green checks everywhere. To be a grown-up, I handed over a backup credit card linked to my account, a neat $12,000 limit. I said, "Text, not just talk, strictly for emergencies." She replied, "Only for emergencies, promise." My inner SRE took the screenshot and archived the thread like a runbook. Saturday night, I'm home with takeout pad thai, building a lab cluster on my old ThinkPad, when my phone pings. Instagram. I don't open stories when I'm trying to keep my head quiet, but my name is tagged. Her bridesmaids have a boomerang, champagne cannon, confetti, neon sign that reads, "Good girls, bad choices." Caption, "Budget groom, premium bridesmaids." A chorus of YOLO stickers. I swallow it. The post is public. My uncle in Ohio likes it. I put the phone face down and go back to kuberctl like a monk reciting lines. Sunday morning, 8:12. Push notifications hit like hail. Fraud alerts, but not fraud, just the kind of spending that feels like a denial of service on a shared life. Lakeview Harbor Resort, $4,120 for a presidential suite plus add-ons. Neon Cove Club, $1,980 VIP experience with a sparkler package. Sapphire Marina, $2,400, Sunset Boat Charter, Premium. Velvet Ember, $920, After Hours Table. A silica avalanche of smaller hits. Ride shares, boutique swimsuits, a $148 emergency spray tan, and a $62 glitter bar. Total by 10:03, $9,480. I read each line item like logs from an incident. Timestamps, merchant IDs, authorization codes. There's even a $19.99 content creator toolkit. The emergency appears to be the absence of perceived luxury. At 10:11, Alex texts, "We went all out. You'll get over it." No emoji, which for her is like dropping the mic. My reply is 3 words, "Hope it was fun." Then I act. I open the app, mark the card stolen, and lock it. I dispute every charge after Friday noon. Not rage. Procedure. I upload screenshots of our Only for Emergencies thread, the boomerang, the public tag, the caption. I annotate with times. 21:43 post, 22:07 lake, resort authorization, 22:55 club spend. I add 2 supporting notes, authorized user versus joint owner, and merchant responsibility for ID at check-in. Receipts matter. I know the difference between possession and title, between her card in language and my account in law. To block the inevitable, I lost my phone. Someone used it. Defense. I ping Lucas, her brother, 26M, amateur drummer, reliable in crises. "Hey, quick. Everything okay with Alex's phone?" 60 seconds later, he calls her on speaker while texting me a thumbs up. I hear her answer, clear, cheerful, hungover. So the phone is with her. Device custody confirmed. Paper trail locked. Within an hour, the bridesmaids group text lights up. Names I only half know from pastel invitations. Financial abuse. Controlling. It's a wedding expense. Someone writes, "What's yours is hers." Another adds a Venmo request to me labeled emotional damages for $137. I don't reply. I export the thread to PDF. I label it /wedding/finance/01 bachelorette spend.pdf. I'm not angry. I'm inventorying. By noon, Alex posts a photo of the marina with "best weekend ever." I file a second dispute entry tying the public photo to the timestamp charge. I also email the resort with a concise note. Card reported stolen. Please preserve camera footage at check-in and concierge logs. A dispute is pending. The concierge writes back, surprisingly helpful. They have IDs on file for 2 upgrades. I request copies via the formal channel and log the ticket number the way I log a PagerDuty incident. At 14:32, Alex finally calls. No hello. You embarrassed me with the card lock. The girls had to cover brunch. I keep my voice level. It's an emergency card, Alex. She exhales, contempt on the line. It was an emergency. We needed to celebrate. Then, if you're going to nickel and dime me before the marriage, maybe we shouldn't be doing this. The sentence sits there like a power line on a wet road. I say, understood. I don't argue intent. I'm allergic to hypotheticals. Facts are cleaner. I forward her our messages, the charges, the disputes, and a short note. We can talk when you're sober. For now, the account is secured. She types and deletes bubbles a dozen times, then sends, my mom says this is on you. Groom's pay. I add that quote to the file. I know their next move will be to make this moral. Mine will be to keep it procedural. Boundaries aren't loud. They're documented. Monday at 8:47 a.m. She floats into my condo like glitter poured from a jar. Overnight bag slung. Lake tote thumping the door. You wouldn't believe the upgrade. The boat? Movie level. She kisses the air beside my cheek and dumps a souvenir hoodie on the counter like tribute. I keep it flat. Sounds pricey. She rolls her eyes, breezy. Once in a lifetime. We'll merge finances after the wedding anyway. We never agreed to that. Our premarital budgeting doc, color-coded tabs, shared in Drive, shows separate accounts, shared expenses by ratio. She never opens it. I close the front door. Lock clicks like a metronome. Her smile doesn't read it. She parades the loot. Monogram tumblers, bride visor, a nautical charm bracelet, a neon bad decisions sign she fully intends to mount above my bookshelf. I say nothing. I move the sign back into the tote. She laughs. Don't be boring, Ethan. She showers, sings, posts. At 10:06, she texts from the bedroom. Brunch with mom. Use the card? I reply, no card. Bring your own. 10 minutes later, the door slams in a way my hinges notice. Tuesday is operational chaos. Stand up at 9 o'clock, prod deploy 9:30, an API health dip at 10:12. In the middle of my mitigation notes, a flood of messages. Card declined at lunch with my mom. Humiliating. Why does the bank say it was stolen? I ignore them while we roll back a canary. Then the bank calls my main line because the account is flagged. A measured voice. We're reaching out to the authorized user on your account. She's attempting to verify charges. I confirm. She's an authorized user, not a joint owner. The rep stays neutral. Understood. We're asking for the cardholder's ID. She cannot provide it. 15 minutes later, another call hits, this time conference style. Investigator verifies details, then walks Alex through the logs. Explain $1,980 at Neon Cove? Alex says, my bachelorette. Are you the card holder? No, but my fiancé said it's fine. The investigator quotes our thread in that even tone people use in depositions. You wrote, quote, only for emergencies, promise. Can you explain the emergency? Silence, then brittle laughter. We're celebrating getting married. The line stays professional. Thank you. We've documented your statement. They end the call. I return to my incident ticket. Uptime doesn't care about feelings. She storms in that evening at 19:02, still in the brunch dress, eyeliner smudged into smoke. You reported me for fraud. I put down my fluke multimeter and look at her. I reported a stolen card. You weaponized the bank. Was a boat an emergency? Her lips press into a hard line. You're ruining my life. I shake my head. No. You spent money that wasn't yours. The room holds the sentence. We both hear the metal in it. She switches tactics. And the wedding? I say, in doubt. She pivots to optics because optics are her native language. I've already paid deposits. The florist will drag me on Facebook if we cancel. My mom will have a stroke. I open the spreadsheet on my laptop, tilt the screen toward her. Tabs for venue, caterer, DJ, deposits with dates and refund windows. We have 3 vendors still in refund range if we act this week. 2 are 50%. 1 is full. She doesn't look. This is abuse, she says. You're punishing me. I point to the green highlighted line. You're in violation of what we agreed. That's not punishment. That's consequence. At 21:10, the bridesmaids chorus resumes, now via voice notes. Give her the card back. It's the groom's job to provide. One writes, my husband would never. I forward the entire chat to my email with the subject line, Bachelorette, ancillary. I archive it to Legal. Alex sees the forward, hisses, oh my God, you're building a case. I'm building a record, I answer. For clarity. Wednesday morning, I call the resort's accounting office on speaker with my manager present so I don't miss stand-up. Please preserve check-in footage and bar receipts. A dispute is pending. They confirm a 7-day retention policy and give me a reference number. I note it in my log. I also file a support ticket with the bank to downgrade Alex's status from authorized user to frozen pending review. It's a toggle I never expected to use. At lunch, Lucas texts, she's spinning this to your in-laws as he starved us at brunch. He sends a screenshot of their family chat. Her mother has written, marriage is generosity. Her father adds, what's his is hers. I reply, ownership is not vibes. Lucas sends back a single laughing emoji. Then, you need to decide if you're still doing this. I type, evaluating. That night Alex doesn't come home. She posts a boomerang clinking old fashions with a caption. When men act petty, act pretty. I mute her stories, turn to the lease folder, and reread the clause about occupants and keys. My August lock app shows her code still active. I don't touch it yet. I place my passport on the desk beside the spare key, just to see the two next to each other. Options on the left, boundaries on the right. At 0:03, my phone lights with one line from Alex. Fix this or it's off. I stare at it for a long minute, then type 3 words back. Understood. Documenting now. At 7:41, my phone rings with Rob H., her father. Rob's a municipal attorney who wears the word reasonable like a tie clip. He opens with, just to understand. I breathe, keep it procedural. I email a neat packet. The emergencies only thread, her you'll get over it text, the Instagram clips, the ledger of charges with timestamps, and the resort's preservation reference number. I add one line, authorized user is not equal to joint owner. 10 minutes later, he replies with a single word forwarded to Alex, Alexandra. The ellipsis is the whole bar exam. At 8:23, maid of honor Katie spins up a new group chat titled Witnesses. She tags me and half the bridal party. Stop being a child. She messed up. Big deal. Another bridesmaid piles on with, men always humiliate. I ask one question. Did that boat feel better knowing it was on a card that wasn't hers? Silence. Then Katie pastes a paragraph about community finances from a blog. I answer with a screenshot from the budget doc. Separate accounts, shared expenses by ratio, initials on each line. No insults, just receipts. 2 bridesmaids quietly heart my message. They also quietly leave the chat. The bank keeps stacking evidence like chain of custody cubes. A boutique replies to my preservation email with stills. Alex holding my sapphire blue card, name legible, signature scrawled to match the back. The marina forwards the contract. The charter is in her name with my card as payment on file. Neon Cove's compliance officer. Different tone, more legal. Confirms they have entry video, table service logs, and a copy of the receipt where she wrote a heart in the tip line. The investigator on our case, Hale, calls at 11:02. We can refer this to the DA. It clears the threshold for unauthorized use. I take a long breath. I'm declining prosecution. He pauses. You're sure? Yes. I want full refunds, merchant chargebacks where applicable, and a permanent internal fraud flag on her user profile. No criminal case. He notes it twice. Understood. Will pursue civil recovery through the network and mark the file. By 1540, the cascade begins. Lakeview cancels the upgrade, reverses $4,120. The marina issues a partial within policy. $1,800 back, $600 kept as non-refundable charter hold. Neon Cove resists until I forward the video confirmation line. At 1712 they cave, $1,980 reversed. Velvet Ember returns $920. Adding a polite, we hope to host you under happier circumstances. The smaller hits follow like loose screws rolling downhill. My disputed total counter drops from $9,480 to $2,021 in under 6 hours. I log every credit with an ID and a PDF. Alex learns what a flag means the same day. Her text hits at 1803. Jagged. Why is my personal card frozen? It's not, her behavior is. Merchant risk teams talk. Underwriting talks. The note on her profile means enhanced verification on new lines, a supervisor on any unusual pattern, and a bright yellow prior misuse. AU on internal screens. She also discovers her work corporate card now requires pre-approval for entertainment. HR pings her at 9:11 the next morning. Quick chat. She messages me, "You went nuclear." I don't reply. I didn't. I documented. Rob calls again, voice lower. I'm not defending the spending. Then, a lawyer's pivot. Is there a path to proceed with the wedding? I tell him the facts. We have 3 vendors in refund windows. The prenup isn't signed. The trust for my house is drafted, not executed. The lease is solely mine. He exhales. I suggest a pause. It's the first helpful family sentence in a week. Noted. I say. We both understand the word pause. Katie tries a new angle at noon. We'll give statements she had your permission. I write, please do. Include times. She replies with a flourish. She called you at 9:55 p.m. for the VIP. I check my call log. There is no 9:55 p.m. call. There is a 9:55 p.m. Instagram story. I paste a screenshot of my carrier record. She goes quiet again. Bridesmaids as witnesses are bad witnesses. Lucas swings by after work with a 6-pack and his take. Mom's regrouping for a family meeting. We sit at my kitchen island under the quiet neon of my router. He taps the manila folder I've labeled /wedding/dispute/. You're doing this like a change request. I grin without humor. Rollback plan 2. At 1849 Hale emails a summary. Civil recovery progressing. Internal flag placed. Merchants notified to add ID checks on profile. No criminal referral per cardholder. I save it as 03 halesummary.pdf. I forward it to Rob and to Alex with a note. Status. Alex replies at 1902. You made me look like a thief. I type back. You made purchases you weren't authorized to make. The network uses that noun. No adjectives. Just the noun. Near midnight, I set my phone face down and reread the lease clause about guest privileges revocable at will. My August lock app shows her code still active. I'm not changing it tonight, but I do print the code list and sign the bottom with today's date. Control isn't cruelty. It's a paper trail. Before sleep, I add one last line to my log. All parties now understand the difference between we're engaged and we share assets. Then I close the folder and switch off the lamp. The room feels measured, like a server room at 3 a.m. cool, humming within limits. The first crack isn't mine. It's the myth that this would run on vibes. By Wednesday at 6:58, consequences start arriving like past due notices. Her 9:10 flight to Phoenix to reset with Jenna. Declined at checkout. She tries to open a travel card at 9:27. Denied pending manual review. Her parents attempt a workaround at 10:02 by adding her as an authorized user on Rob's card. The internal fraud note pings their issuer, who requests enhanced ID and a callback. Rob texts me a screenshot of the hold message with a dry, flag seems sticky. Her mother calls in tears. You're wrecking her future over money. I keep my tone level. She wrecked someone else's future with money that wasn't hers. Silence. Then the soft click of an older woman who understands cause and effect but hates the shape of it. At 11:40, Alex's HR, pharma sales, invites her to a quick discussion. Corporate card frozen until her expense behavior stabilizes. They add her to a PIP 30 days, weekly check-ins, required ethics module. She text screams, "You turned work against me." I don't answer. Risk teams can read a calendar. At noon, I execute the rollback I prepped. Calls to the venue, caterer, photographer. I use vendor names, contract numbers, and cancellation clauses. The venue keeps 50%, $3,750 forfeited. The caterer keeps the full tasting fee. Will return 30% if I sign a release by Friday 1700 hours. The photographer returns the travel retainer but not the date fee. From the wedding fund savings pot to signature withdrawals by design, I initiate a split. Our bank manager confirms the instrument allows unilateral withdrawals with notice if the event is canceled. I withdraw my half, $6,200. I email Alex a ledger with the line, available remainder, $6,200 to you upon acknowledgement of cancellation. She doesn't acknowledge. At 14:18, she stages a lobby ambush at my office. Cheapskate, rings off glass. She waves a crumpled vendor quote like a warrant. Security moves with the practice calm of men who've seen conferences go feral. They ask her to leave. She refuses. They escort her and print a trespass notice banning her from the building for 90 days. My manager witnesses it, signs his name. I file the incident report number in her. Refunds trickle. Costs stick. The florist offers store credit only, which would be funny if grief could be arranged. The dress shop replies to my polite inquiry with a photo of the altered hem and the caption, "No returns by policy." I log it not because I expect money back, but because records erase arguments later. At 17:03, peak absurdity arrives via Google Sheets. File name, debts Ethan owes. Line items, bolded, emotional labor $36,000. Lost opportunities, collabs, $20,000. Pain and suffering, $18,000. Half your savings, $12,000. Ring, $6,500. Total sell, $92,500. Formatted in red with a conditional rule that turns it green if paid. A comment bubble from Katie. This is fair. I reply in cell. This is not a ledger. Alex responds, pay by Friday or we blast your job. I highlight the threat, export to PDF, and save it as 04 demand, threat.pdf. At 18:22, her lawyer friend emails from a Gmail address. No signature block. Subject line, notice of intent. The body alleges unjust enrichment, promises a smear campaign, demands $92,500 wired to a Cash App handle, and declares the ring hers by custom. My attorney, Doyle, replies in exactly one paragraph, 143 words. Engagement does not create marital rights. Your client has no claim to Mr. Green's assets. The ring is a conditional gift contingent on marriage and must be returned upon cancellation. Any defamation directed at his employer will be met with injunctive relief and a tortious interference claim. We are prepared to discuss her admitted unauthorized card use in the appropriate forum. He BCCs me and Rob. Rob replies, received. At 19:47 I draft my own clean notice to Alex. Wedding canceled effective today. Vendor contacts provided. Her items boxed by Friday 12 o'clock. Pickup window 12 to 1600 hours with building security present. Code access suspended after 16:01. Request to return the ring by Monday 9 o'clock. Failure will prompt a civil replevin action. I send it certified and via email. Lucas texts. She's going to melt down. I type. There's a list and a window. Night falls measured. I stack 3 bankers' boxes on the hall bench. Shoes, skincare, the bad decisions neon coiled like a quiet snake. I tape each, label tops with dates, add a contents list. On the table, I place a padded ring box and a prepaid label addressed to Doyle. Control isn't spite. It's a schedule. At 22:31, she sends 4 words, "You'll regret this, miser." I log the message and close the laptop. Consequences at last have invoices, names, amounts, due dates. I can pay mine. She will face hers. The difference isn't love or anger. It's whose card the charge is on. The ring arrives by certified mail at 10:22 a.m. Signature required. The carrier holding the padded envelope like it might bite. Inside, the diamond in its original blue box, prongs scuffed, a faint smear of highlighter on the lid. I photograph the contents, drop the box into a second mailer addressed to Doyle, and scan the receipt into /legal/05 ring return.pdf. Conditional gift satisfied. No theatrics, no porch confrontation. Just a barcode and a timestamp. By lunchtime, the Bachelorette crew implodes over money the way codebases implode over silent dependencies. The chargebacks hit their accounts and the merchants yank back tip pools. 2 bridesmaids, Bree and Kelsey, DM me that their shares were Venmo'd to Alex on Sunday night to Square bar tabs. Those transfers are gone. Alex spent them at Lark and Finch on a reset outfit and a $329 hair tool she calls self-care. Bree threatens small claims. Kelsey sends screenshots. At 14:11, Devin, the quiet one, posts a spreadsheet in the bridesmaids chat titled Reconciliation. It shows what Alex collected per person for luxury suite and what she actually booked. Standard plus upgrade at check-in, groom's card. The Delta column, highlighted in coral, is money Alex pocketed as coordinator fee. When Katie tries to bury it in emojis, Devin replies with a one-line sledgehammer. Fraud isn't a vibe. 2 more leave the chat. Screenshots land in my inbox minutes later without commentary. I archive them like meteor fragments. Reputation starts the long slide down. Regional pharma chats slap on a nickname by afternoon. The fiancée who ran her groom's card. In a field built on samples and compliance that sticks. A rep Lucas knows tells me Alex was iced out of a conference dinner. Chair pulled, label whispered. HR schedules her for another ethics touchpoint. I don't smile. It's not entertainment. It's cause and effect running its default. At 17:03, Rob calls again. His voice carries the weariness of a man who's had to read Discovery on his own child. Ethan, I wanted to say I'm sorry. I raised her better than this. Thank you for the paperwork. You spared us a courtroom to learn. I say only, I hope she recalibrates. He exhales, says he's helping Molly set up her own budget spreadsheet tonight. I email him my template, tabs, formulas, the notes column titled Decision Rationale. At 18:29, a new number texts. It's me. I'm sorry. I was stressed. Can we talk? The apology reads like a line item with the cost left blank. I reply, no 3 dots. You ruined my life over money. I answer, you ruined someone else's life over money you didn't have. She fires back a paragraph about love, forgiveness, haters, and second chances sponsored by Pinterest. I type 1 sentence. Take the second chance with your own accounts. Then I block the number. Procedure doesn't require anger. 10 minutes later, my doorbell rings. I watch the camera. Katie on the mat, arms crossed around a tote. I don't open. She sets the tote down, frames the lens with 2 fingers and says, we'll remember this. The tote contains the neon bad decisions sign, cord frayed. I log the delivery and leave it for morning. The building's quiet hum feels like a server room at 3 a.m. Within limits, alarms green. Molly texts at 20:14. Ring arrived? Dad told me to thank you. First real consequences she's ever faced. I answer, yes. Boxed. Logged. She types, deletes, then sends, I'm keeping finances separate with Owen. Joint for rent. That's it. I send back the split expense template and a note. Authorized user is not equal to joint owner. She replies with a relieved, finally someone says it. I ask how her mom is. Crying. Also budgeting. Both can happen. By 2200 hours, I've triaged what used to be our life into folders /wedding, /lease, /bank, /HR. The banker's boxes are lined up by the door with inventory sheets taped to the lids. I schedule a pickup for her things. Friday, 1300 hours with security present. I email the time window to Rob and CC Building Management. I disable Alex's August code at 16:01 in the app. Future dated like a maintenance window. Change request approved by me. Before sleep, I write a final line in my log. Reputation debt paid first, then money debt. Both compounding. I set the phone face down and listen to the apartment settle. No ring on the dresser, no countdown on the calendar, no chat pings turning nouns into weapons. Just quiet, earned by steps, stamped with times. Tomorrow is for closing loops. Tonight is for letting the ledger balance without me forcing it. Final tally lands like a bank statement you don't dread opening. The network claws back every cent. My score pings upward, spotless as a fresh OS install. Hers takes the hit that systems call persistent. 7-year internal risk notes, second chance accounts with monthly fees, applications that route to manual review, and landlords who go quiet unless a co-signer steps forward. At work, the chill isn't loud. It's a hallway that doesn't warm when she walks through. She carries the wedding's sunk costs. I keep the lesson and the calm. I stop explaining the difference between an argument and a record. When someone laughs while swiping your card, you don't debate, you document. I did the adult sequence. Called the venue, froze the card, notified the bank, preserved footage, wrote down times. Nothing cinematic, just checkboxes and timestamps. That's the thing no one posts. Peace usually looks like a spreadsheet. The day we were supposed to stand under an arch of eucalyptus and rental glass, I'm at gate B15 with a carry-on and a paper boarding pass because I still like the ritual. Same honeymoon route, different passenger count. I used the refunded points to upgrade to seat 2A and bought an airport latte with my own card, which tastes better than any champagne sabered over someone else's limits. I text Lucas, "Wheels up." He sends back a thumbs up and a photo of Molly setting up her split expenses sheet. Seattle is overcast and uncomplicated. I walk Pike Place early, buy a $6 bouquet that doesn't pretend to be forever, and eat chowder at a standing counter where nobody knows my story. I take a selfie on the ferry with the skyline behind me. Not a Heathrow flex, just a record that I got on with it. I send it to Doyle with the subject, status, fine. He replies with a check mark and a reminder that the civil file can close once the last merchant's reversal posts. On the flight, I open the folder one last time. /wedding closed, /bank closed, /lease still mine. I scroll to the line I wrote after the first incident. Boundaries aren't loud. They're documented. It still holds. I add today's entry. Event canceled. Life not. Then I move the files to an archive so they stop sitting on the desktop of my mind. Back home, the apartment is quieter than it has any right to be. I donate the neon bad decisions sign to the building's free shelf. It vanishes in an hour, which feels cosmically correct. I replace it with a small print that says within limits, taped with blue painter's tape above the bookshelf. I renew my gym membership, change nothing about my coffee, and sleep through the night without a single alert. People ask for the takeaway like there's a trick. There isn't. Emergency spending has receipts. You'll get over it, doesn't. When humiliation goes public, make the consequences official. If someone calls you controlling for controlling what's yours, learn the vocabulary. Authorized user is not joint owner. Possession is not title. Vibes are not a policy. The only thing I weaponized was process. Do I miss the idea of the wedding? Sure, the practical parts. The aunt who makes deviled eggs better than anyone. The playlist Lucas built. The small satisfaction of crossing pickup tucks off a list. But I don't miss the feeling of being conscripted into paying for a story someone else was telling with my name at the bottom of the receipt. The refund wasn't just money. It was narrative. So here's the last entry for anyone who recognizes themselves in this ledger. If you find yourself staring at charges that arrived without your consent and a chorus telling you to be generous, remember, generosity is voluntary and trackable. Extraction is not. Canceling a card is cheaper than canceling yourself. Canceling a wedding can be cheaper than spending the next decade opening your eyes after. Peace wasn't on the registry. I bought it anyway, returned everything else, and kept the receipt.